Project Hail Mary is really good, but I don't think you need me to tell you at this point because you've probably heard the buzz online. Most everyone, I think, really enjoyed it. It's definitely a crowd pleaser, but just all around a strong sci-fi movie as well, and very much a spiritual successor to The Martian. It was, of course, based on the novel Project Hail Mary, written by Andy Weir, who also wrote The Martian. The screenplay was by Drew Goddard, and I think he did a fantastic job, and it's directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who also did amazing work. There will be spoilers in this review. I haven't read the novel. My assessment is entirely based on the feature film. As usual, most people tend to prefer the novelization, but while the film isn't perfect, the consensus seems to be that this is a good and worthwhile cinematic adaptation of the source material. Maybe it's not the best adaptation it could have been, but it's pretty good. It stars Ryan Gosling as Dr. Ryland Grace, who is a science teacher, and he used to be a molecular biologist. The government come to him asking for his help with trying to solve the mystery behind what's happening with Earth's sun. The sun is dying. It's infected by an astrophage, a microorganism that basically feeds off stars. It reduces their brightness and temperature, basically kills them slowly. And in so doing, it would wipe out all life on Earth in just a few decades. Now, Grace discovers that this phage needs carbon dioxide to reproduce, and that it's also infected a lot of stars near Earth, except one in the Tau Ceti star system. So, the only choice is to investigate what's going on over there and why that star seems to be resistant to this disease. And wouldn't you know it, turns out that they can get a spaceship there in just a few years by developing an engine that's fueled by the same astrophage. That's nice and convenient. So Grace discovers a way to reproduce the phage on Earth as a fuel, and he and two other astronauts are sent off to that star system via suspended animation. They're going to be put to sleep. It's a one-way trip as well. They won't be coming back. Trouble is, Grace doesn't want to go. He refuses, and so we find out at the end of the movie that he's actually forced to go. That's how he got there, because the film is told partially in flashback. He's drugged and put into stasis, and he awakens with no memory on board the ship. His crewmates are dead, and he's alone in deep space. Gradually, his memories start to return. The story of how he got into space is doled out slowly in these flashbacks, along with explaining his work on Earth with Ava, played by Sandra Hüller. She's the woman who recruited him into the Hail Mary project. Ultimately, the heart of the story is the very likable and charming Grace and his relationship with the alien he befriends. This kind of rock spider creature, who he appropriately names Rocky. Rocky is also looking for a cure for his own son that's dying in the Iridian sector. This is a proper operatic space adventure in the vein of 2001, 2010, The Martian, Interstellar, Ad Astra, or Moon. Realistic space physics, believable science, and a breathtaking blend of fantastic visuals with an epic musical score in the vein of those kinds of movies. I loved the camera angles throughout the film, and the camera is often tilted at 90 degrees and rotates in different shots, both on Earth and in the spaceship, giving us a sense of weightlessness, and the cinematography is just superb. Some beautiful and very clever use of framing of certain shots as Grace moves through the cramped little spaceship, giving us the sense of claustrophobia and isolation. What I also really enjoyed about this movie is that it's not an ensemble story. There's very few characters. It's mostly just Grace and Rocky working together. And so it becomes an intensely personal and psychological character story. Their friendship is very endearing. They develop a tight bond. They learn to communicate. They work together, care about each other, and even save each other's lives. Now, like I say, the film is told partially in flashback, beginning in the present with him waking up on the ship with no memory, with flashbacks showing us his work on Earth, and how he eventually will be forcibly thrown into the ship against his will. In many cases, flashbacks of this kind can feel like they're bogging the movie down or just getting in the way and disrupting the narrative flow, but not in this case. There wasn't a single scene in this movie that felt unnecessary or slow. The film is paced and edited perfectly. I wouldn't cut anything out. My only real complaint is that, although the humor works, And there's some very good levity in there, much like The Martian. At times, I think there's too much of it. And it's a very similar whimsical type humor, just like The Martian. It helps to keep Grace relatable, likable, and very much an everyman. Well, he's certainly braver and more heroic than most people, even if he initially didn't believe in himself. But because there is so much humor in the movie, it can downplay the stakes at times, I think. Now, it isn't the kind of humor that's like Guardians of the Galaxy or the MCU or something where everything is played for a laugh and all the tension is undercut. It's not that kind of humor, not quite. But at times it just felt like there's too many gags, right? But it is a very different tone of a movie when compared to the more serious Interstellar, which I prefer because it is so serious. But Project Hail Mary is meant to be more family friendly. And I suppose it is. It balances drama with light-hearted moments very well. The action sequences are excellent. The space shots are brilliant. It's generally a fun movie and one that I suspect I'll appreciate more upon second viewing. I was surprised by the ending. I was convinced that Grace was going to die, go off into space and die a noble death, or that it was just going to end with him flying off into space and that it would be implied that he was going to die eventually on his own. In actual fact, he ends up on Rocky's world, and the Iridians have built him a biosphere to live within. So there's a beach there, and he seems happy enough. He's teaching Iridians about science, though I do hope that he eventually finds his way back to Earth. I have to say, I like this movie. I can certainly recommend it. It's just what Hollywood needs right now, I think, and it seems to be doing very well at the box office. Time will tell. It's just nice to watch a quality sci-fi movie that isn't pushing some agenda and that's just, telling a good story and it's not part of some franchise. It's a standalone movie that's accessible, fun, and I think also another component of this that can't be overlooked is the fact that it's very upbeat and positive in tone. And so often these days, a lot of modern sci-fi, especially on television, I will say, feels very dystopian and nihilistic. Edgy, dark, bleak, that sort of thing. So it's refreshing that Project Hail Mary is nothing like that. I honestly think that this film will put a smile on your face, for sure. And I think it's really worth the ticket price. I think it's worth your time. I would also say that Ryan Gosling's performance in this movie is some of the best work he's ever done in his career. That's going to do it for my review of Project Hail Mary. It's 2 thumbs up from me. Thank you very much for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. Hit that like button. Share the video out there. Take care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.